Welcome to part 22 of the Ultimate Unsolved Mysteries Iceberg. In this series, we deep dive cases including true crime, mysterious disappearances, myths and legends, strange events, internet mysteries, and more. New South Greenland. The story of the Phantom Island of New South Greenland, also known as Morell's Land, begins with American Captain Benjamin Morell's voyages in the early 19th century. Also, just a brief word on Phantom Islands before we begin. Unfortunately, they aren't quite as spooky as they sound. A Phantom Island is a purported island included on maps for a time, but later found to be non-existent. Originating from early sailors' reports, they result from navigational errors, mistaken observations, misinformation, or deliberate fabrication. Common in exploration history, they reflect the challenges and mysteries of maritime navigation and map-making. Morell reported spotting this land during a seal hunting and exploration trip in the Weddell Sea area of Antarctica in March 1823. He provided coordinates and a description of a coastline, assuming he was observing the east coast of the Antarctic Peninsula, previously explored and named New South Greenland by another captain. This area was reportedly rich in seals and appeared to have snow-covered mountains further south. Historically, the Southern Ocean has been riddled with reports of islands that turned out to be non-existent. These misreports have been attributed to various causes, such as navigational errors, bad weather, the consumption of alcohol, or even deliberate hoaxes. In the case of Morell's New South Greenland, the general skepticism stemmed from discrepancies and errors in his voyage accounts, leading to doubts about his credibility. For example, Morell's detailed accounts of his journey were notably similar to those of British explorer James Weddell, suggesting possible plagiarism. Moreover, Morell's estimated positions and descriptions of his journey through supposedly ice-free seas in the Antarctic have been widely questioned by historians. Extensive searches for New South Greenland were conducted, notably by the French explorer Jules Dumont d'Urville in 1838, who found no indication of land where Morell reported his sightings. Similar expeditions were led by Ernest Shackleton, who, among others, also found no evidence of such a land, leading to the conclusion that Morell's sightings were likely of large ice masses, mirages, or simply errors. Further, during the Second German Antarctic Expedition, led by Wilhelm Filchner from 1911 to 1913, no signs of land were found, again debunking the existence of New South Greenland. These findings were supported by subsequent Antarctic explorations and are now accepted as evidence that New South Greenland was indeed a myth. Another theory is that Morell was simply a fairly incompetent navigator, and based on the evidence, I actually prefer this theory. By his own accounts, he brought insufficient nautical instruments to make calculations for his journey, which seems like a questionable move for a sea captain. The Kate Middleton Conspiracy. The story of Kate Middleton's disappearance from public view in 2024 has stirred a significant amount of speculation. Kate was last confirmed to be publicly seen on Christmas Day 2023. This situation began in January 2024 when Kensington Palace announced that Middleton had undergone a planned abdominal surgery at the London clinic. She was expected to remain in the hospital for 10 to 14 days and was unlikely to return to public duties until after Easter. Keep this initial statement in mind as we go through this entry. This announcement sparked public interest as no further details on the nature of the surgery were provided. As time passed without any sightings of Middleton, the internet's rumor mill began to churn. Various theories emerged, ranging from speculations about her physical health to rumors about her marriage and personal life. The situation was exacerbated when Prince William, her husband, withdrew from a royal engagement, citing a, quote, personal matter. This led to increased speculation and the surfacing of numerous questionable conspiracy theories online. The range of conspiracy theories has been both wide and imaginative. From the idea that Kate was in hiding due to a hair coloring mishap, to rumors of her undergoing various types of cosmetic surgery. There are even outlandish suggestions such as her embarking on a mission to the moon or secretly dating a celebrity. And in case you're wondering which celebrity she's been most commonly paired up with, it's Pete Davidson, of course. Overall, there was nothing much out of the ordinary prior to March 2024. She was recovering from surgery and wanted privacy. No big deal, right? But then things got really weird, and the conspiracy theory and mystery surrounding Kate Middleton's whereabouts went from dark corners of the internet to the mainstream. On March 10, 2024, Kensington Palace shared a photograph of Kate Middleton and her 3 children, aiming to present a positive message about her recovery after a period of absence. The photo was captioned with expressions of gratitude and well wishes for Mother's Day, noted to have been taken by Prince William himself. However, shortly after its release, the image became the center of controversy due to suspicions that it had been photoshopped. Major agencies like Associated Press, Associated Foreign Press, Reuters, and Getty subsequently recalled the photograph, citing editorial issues and post-publication reviews. The most detailed claim came from the Associated Press, which suggested upon closer inspection that the image appeared to have been manipulated. This led to a widespread speculation and debate over the authenticity of the photo, particularly pointing out inconsistencies such as the alignment of Princess Charlotte's left sleeve with her hand. All major news outlets have now agreed that the photograph is significantly manipulated. Is this where it stops, though? You bet your boots this rabbit hole goes even deeper. On Monday, March 11, 2024, Kate Middleton issued an apology through Twitter, where she stated, quote, "Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. I hope everyone celebrating had a very happy Mother's Day." Yes, you heard that correctly. Kensington Palace then tried to state that Kate Middleton personally edited the photograph. I find it difficult to believe that people who can't cook, clean, or drive for themselves are suddenly experimenting in Photoshop. Despite the commotion, as of March 15, 2024, the whereabouts of Kate Middleton have not yet been confirmed with certainty. In my view, this is a case where the cover-up is much worse than the so-called conspiracy itself. If you look at initial statements from Kensington Palace, it was clear that Kate Middleton would be out of the public eye until at least after Easter. The photoshopped picture of Kate and her family was released 3 weeks prior to Easter, within the period which she was supposed to be out of the public eye. In my view, this is less a tale of a conspiracy and more of a tale of perhaps the most significant Streisand effect of all time. Seriously, maybe it's time to rename it the Streisand-Middleton effect. But before I explain further, let me give you a brief background on what the Streisand effect is. The Streisand effect refers to the unintended consequence of increasing awareness of information by attempting to hide, remove, or censor it from the internet. It was named after Barbra Streisand, who tried to suppress a photo of her residence from the web, which led to more public attention than if left unnoticed. Efforts to suppress online information, such as cease and desist letters, often result in the opposite, making the information widely known and further distributed. Now back to the implications of this phenomenon on the Kate Middleton case. When Kensington Palace and major picture agencies hastily pulled the seemingly manipulated photograph from circulation, it sparked greater scrutiny and speculation rather than quelling rumors. This act inadvertently confirmed public suspicions that something was amiss, thereby amplifying the conspiracy theories surrounding Kate Middleton's recent public absence. The Streisand-Middleton effect illustrates how attempts to cover up and control the narrative often backfire, leading to wider dissemination and greater interest in the concealed information. And yeah, quick programming note, I've decided I will forever refer to it as the Streisand-Middleton effect. It also makes it sound more scientific. Let me know your thoughts on the Kate Middleton situation in the comments below. The Japanese SOS Incident. This case was recommended by Patreon supporter and community member Monoxide Wendigo. In July 1989, a significant yet perplexing event unfolded in the remote terrains of Daisetsuzan National Park, known as the Japanese SOS case. The incident began when two mountaineers from Tokyo became disoriented during their expedition from Mount Kurodake to Mount Asahidake. Their unforeseen detour led to a large-scale search operation by Hokkaido police. During their aerial search, the authorities stumbled upon a giant SOS sign constructed from 19 fallen birch trees, each approximately 5 meters in length. The rescue was initially deemed successful when the lost mountaineers were found and safely extracted a few kilometers from the SOS sign. However, the situation took an unexpected turn when the rescued men reported having no knowledge of the SOS sign. The authorities went back to the drawing board and conducted a full investigation of the SOS sign and the surrounding area, which yielded extremely unusual results. The subsequent investigation uncovered human bones, personal belongings, and a distressing audio recording near the SOS site. Among the found items were cassette tapes, a tape recorder, a backpack, and the driver's license of Kenji Iwamura, a 25-year-old office worker who had been missing since July 1984 after venturing out for a hike. This discovery sparked a complex mystery, intertwining the fates of the missing Iwamura and the unknown creator of the SOS sign. Initially, the remains were believed to belong to a female due to forensic analysis. However, this was later corrected to identify the remains as male, speculating it to be Iwamura's body. The area where the SOS sign was located, known as Safe Rock, became a focal point in understanding the circumstances that led to this tragic event. The SOS sign itself was a marvel of survival instinct, speculated to have been created over 2 days with considerable effort. Yet, doubts were cast on Iwamura's capability to construct such a sign given his physical condition, as described by the medical examination of the found remains. Iwamura was described as extremely small, thin, and weak, without the ability to participate in such heavy physical activity. In fact, Iwamura's presumed remains were assumed to be from a young woman, due to apparent dimorphic differences. This ambiguity, combined with the fact that no tool like an axe was found at the site, added layers of mystery to the case. The presence of an audio recording, wherein a male voice pleads for help, introduced a haunting element to the incident. Translated into English, this recording stated as follows: SOS help me. I can't move on the cliff. SOS help me. The place is where I first met the helicopter. The bamboo is deep and you can't go up. Lift me up from here. There are naturally speculations about it being Iwamura's voice. However, this is inconclusive as his parents could not confirm its authenticity. Given the mention of a helicopter on the tape, this naturally suggests that something very sinister occurred between the man, who may be Iwamura, and the occupants of the helicopter. The paradox of the heap. The paradox of the heap, also known as the Sorites paradox, presents a dilemma stemming from the vagueness of predicates such as heap, bald, or tall. Initially posed by the ancient Greek philosopher Eubulides of Miletus, the paradox confronts the problem of vague terms in our everyday language and their application in logical reasoning. The paradox is typically illustrated by considering a heap of sand from which grains are individually removed. If a heap remains a heap after the removal of one grain, then logically, even a single remaining grain would still constitute a heap, leading to an absurd conclusion. Conversely, the paradox can be framed starting with a single grain and adding grains one at a time. If one grain does not make a heap, neither should two, and so on, leading to the illogical conclusion that no number of grains can ever form a heap. The core of the paradox lies in its exposure of tolerance, the notion that small changes do not affect the status of the heap. However, accumulated small changes lead to significant differences, challenging our intuitive categorizations. What happened to animal-type Earthlings in Dragon Ball Z? This section is in honor of Akira Toriyama, who passed away on March 1st, 2024, with his passing being announced 1 week later after his family had time to process this tragedy. As someone who has consumed literally thousands of hours of Toriyama content, I say this with the most respect and love. Rest in paradise, brother. The original Dragon Ball manga and anime contained a significant amount of characters that were anthropomorphic animals. These characters are referred to canonically as, quote, animal-type Earthlings, and the disappearance of these creatures happened so gradually that almost no one noticed. The disappearance of animal-style Earthlings in Dragon Ball Z can be attributed to several factors. The setting's shift to different worlds naturally reduced the prominence of Earth's animal characters. Only key animal characters like Korin, Oolong, and Puar remained as a part of the peripheral cast, and no meaningful new animal-type Earthlings were introduced. Further, other animal-type Earthlings, such as King Furry, virtually disappeared from the series. Akira Toriyama, the creator of the series, suggested that the gradual omission might have been unintentional. He stated in an interview that he possibly forgot about them due to the series becoming more serious over time. Further, I suspect that they were more heavily included in Dragon Ball than in Dragon Ball Z, as the early portions of Dragon Ball are much more heavily inspired by Journey to the West. This Chinese classic contains a number of animal-type Earthlings, most famously the Monkey King, known in Japanese as Goku. But wait, there's more to the story with this one. In Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, a video game, Anamorpholine is portrayed as a drug that can transform human-type Earthlings into animal-type Earthlings, known as Beastmen. According to the side quest narrative, this transformational property led to its popularity during the time of the original Dragon Ball series. Whether Anamorpholine is canon or not is open for interpretation. Those who hold that only the manga is canon interpret Anamorpholine as non-canonical. However, given the massive Dragon Ball extended universe, the vast majority of which exists outside the manga series, restricting the definition of canon to simply the manga seems perhaps reductionist. Consider the following. First, Anamorpholine was in an official DBZ product developed in close association with the rights holders. Second, Toriyama has never made a statement explicitly contradicting Anamorpholine. As such, I would potentially consider it canon. Anyway, thank you for your amazing work and creativity. I have a feeling my great-grandkids will be enjoying Dragon Ball content just the same as I did and do. Jimmy here, the YouTuber behind the Lazy Chill Zone channel. If you're enjoying my content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and slap that notification bell. I've said it before, but my goal is to create the most expansive iceberg series in YouTube history, and I want you all along for the ride. Also, consider signing up for a YouTube membership, joining the Patreon, and joining the Discord. The Discord is now incredibly active and is generally the best place to suggest new cases, or just interact with the community. The disappearance of Maura Murray. Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student from the University of Massachusetts Amherst, vanished under mysterious circumstances on February 9, 2004. Maura Murray was an accomplished student and athlete, described as quiet, introverted, and extremely motivated. Earlier that day, Murray had emailed her professors and work supervisor claiming a death in the family, which was later found to be untrue, and indicating she would be away for a week. Notably, this was an act that was extremely out of character for Murray, who has universally been described as a responsible hard worker. She packed her car with belongings, including clothing, college textbooks, and toiletries, and withdrew $280 from an ATM. Murray also purchased approximately $40 worth of alcoholic beverages before leaving Amherst in her black 1996 Saturn sedan. Her journey seemingly aimed towards the White Mountains, as she had searched for hotels in the Stowe, Vermont area earlier. However, her exact destination remains unknown, as she never informed anyone of her plans. That evening, Murray's vehicle was discovered crashed against a snowbank along Route 112 in Woodsville, New Hampshire. A local resident reported the accident, and a passing motorist, a school bus driver, offered assistance to Murray, who declined, stating she had called for help. By the time police arrived approximately 10 minutes later, Murray had disappeared, leaving behind a locked car and some of her belongings. Notably, there were no footprints in the snow leading away from the car, and further, there were no visible signs of struggle. Further, her scent was lost within a short distance by sniffer dogs, leading to the belief she may have obtained a ride from the scene. Her cell phone, credit, and bank cards were missing, but no activity has been recorded since her disappearance. The case perplexed authorities and Murray's family, especially given the unusual circumstances leading up to her disappearance and the lack of evidence pointing to her whereabouts. Investigators found her dorm room packed up as though she was planning to move out. Before her disappearance, Murray seemed troubled, leaving her campus job early due to distress, but details of her concerns remain unknown. The case has drawn attention to the possibility of Murray intending to start anew or escape personal issues, but her reasons for leaving and the events that followed remain speculative. Theories regarding Murray's disappearance range widely. Personally, I have a hard time believing that Murray, who had a close relationship with her family, would simply leave like this and never inform them. Further, based on the circumstantial evidence, I would consider this next to impossible. Unfortunately, I suspect she may have been lured into a vehicle by a passerby and then ended. Perhaps she was tricked into the vehicle by someone claiming to be an off-duty police officer, but this, of course, is just speculative. Comparisons have been made with other local cases due to the similarities in circumstances. However, any connections to other cases remain speculative and unsubstantiated. The case is still being actively investigated, and Maura's family appears to have taken a very active role in making sure that her case does not fade from memory. I note the photograph on the right is an age-progressed photograph released in February 2024 by the FBI. If you have any information regarding the Maura Murray case, please contact your local FBI office, as the FBI have taken lead in this matter. The Tsuchinoko. The Tsuchinoko, a creature deeply ingrained in Japanese folklore, remains one of the country's most intriguing cryptids. This legendary being, often compared to a snake due to its obvious reptilian features, stands out due to its distinctive body shape, which is significantly wider at the midsection compared to its head and tail. The creature measures between 30 and 80 centimeters in length and is known for its alleged venomous fangs, akin to those of a viper. Unique among its supposed capabilities is the ability to perform consecutive jumps, and an extraordinary myth that it can swallow its tail to roll like a wheel. Historical sightings of the Tsuchinoko date back over 1,400 years, with the creature predominantly featuring in the folklore of Western Japan. However, the creature's supposed range is throughout the country. Interestingly, the Tsuchinoko is not only a subject of ancient myths, but has also been a part of modern-day culture, with sightings in rural areas near rivers and mountainous regions. Despite these claims, concrete evidence of the Tsuchinoko's existence remains elusive, as most accounts are based on anecdotal evidence, and none have been scientifically verified. In an effort to capture this elusive creature, various local governments and organizations have offered substantial rewards, reaching up to millions of yen for a live specimen. Yet, despite these lucrative incentives, no verifiable evidence of the Tsuchinoko has been presented to claim these rewards. The phenomenon has not only spurred numerous expeditions, but has also significantly influenced local tourism and popular culture, inspiring the creation of Tsuchinoko-themed attractions and products. The diet and habitat of the Tsuchinoko are subjects of fascination as well. Reported to live in forested mountain areas near water bodies, they're said to prey on small animals such as frogs, mice, and even larger creatures as they grow. Unique among its characteristics are the Tsuchinoko's supposed abilities to swim efficiently, produce a range of vocal sounds, and an affinity for alcohol, particularly sake. Yes, you heard me right. It's a fat snake with a beer belly. Well, a sake belly, I suppose. These attributes, along with its alleged cunning and deceptive nature, add layers of complexity and intrigue to the creature's legend and suggest it was never meant to be a non-supernatural being. While the Tsuchinoko remains a significant figure in Japanese folklore, its existence as a real creature is generally not accepted. Also, I'm going to guess that this cryptid looks vaguely familiar to a fair amount of my viewing audience. And here's why. Viewers might recognize the Tsuchinoko through Dunsparce, a Pokemon inspired by this cryptid. Dunsparce, known for its unique serpentine body, shares similar traits with the Tsuchinoko, such as a chubby middle and an ability to make unusual sounds. Dunsparce's distinct design and attributes, mirroring those of the Tsuchinoko, has turned this once fairly obscure cryptid into a fairly well-known creature worldwide. Oh, and in terms of what the Tsuchinoko actually is, I assume someone somewhere saw a snake digesting something, and the legend grew from there. Quantum immortality. Quantum immortality is a concept born from the quantum self-ending thought experiment, which aims to test the many worlds interpretation, MWI, of quantum mechanics. This theory suggests that for every possible outcome of a quantum event, there exists a separate universe. In the context of the quantum self-ending experiment, an individual supposedly would continue to survive in a parallel universe whenever they face life-threatening situations. According to this thought experiment, if the MWI is correct, one could, in theory, never experience their own demise, as there would always be a version of them that survives in an alternate universe. However, this notion of quantum immortality raises profound philosophical and scientific challenges. Critics argue that dying is not an instantaneous event, but rather a transition through various states of consciousness. Proponents of MWI have clarified that the supposed immortality only applies within the highly specific conditions of the thought experiment. Real-world scenarios involve a range of outcomes between being fully alive and fully dead, where consciousness fades gradually rather than instantly switching between states. This undermines the simplistic dichotomy of alive or dead presumed by quantum immortality, and suggests that, in practical terms, one would not experience eternal survival. Furthermore, the academic community largely disagrees with the real-world applicability of quantum immortality. The concept relies heavily on the unproven assumption that consciousness can continue unimpeded across different universes. Most scientists and philosophers argue that if an individual were to die in some of these universes, they would continue to exist in significantly fewer universes, diminishing their overall presence. This reduction in measure or probability presence across the multiverse suggests that an individual should not expect immortality from their subjective point of view. So while this is a very interesting thought experiment, upon closer examination, there are a number of different quote-unquote holes in the thought experiment. However, I would argue that these quote-unquote holes in the experiment are largely holes in the popular interpretation of the quantum immortality thought experiment. The Almas. The Almas, often referred to as the wild man of Central Asia, is a Central Asian hominid cryptid. Descriptions of the Almas, painted as a creature with a human-like flat face, walking on two legs, covered in thick black fur, and possessing formidable strength. Such characteristics have led some to propose that the Almas could be a relic population of Neanderthals still residing in remote areas of Siberia. Other theories suggest that it is a bipedal ape, much like Bigfoot, and propose that it may be a Gigantopithecus, or perhaps an unknown chimpanzee-like creature. Historical encounters and scientific expeditions have attempted to shed light on this creature. In the 1960s, Soviet scientists suggested the possibility of the Almas being Neanderthals, sparking expeditions in the Caucasus Mountains to uncover evidence. Despite these efforts, all hair samples attributed to the Almas have eventually been attributed to brown bears. This mix-up between myth and reality can be attributed to several factors. Bears, especially those standing on their hind legs, can look surprisingly human-like from a distance. Additionally, bear tracks in the snow can resemble human footprints and can expand over time, leading to further confusion. Notably, numerous cultures have noted the similarities between bears and humans. For instance, traditional Korean beliefs surrounding bears tells of a bear who turned into a woman who gave birth to the first Koreans. My point being that human beings have noted that bears bear a strong resemblance to humans generally, and we continue to confuse bears for hominid cousins. Or maybe I'm totally wrong and there's a Bigfoot population living in Kazakhstan. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, check out the Patreon and the YouTube membership. Your support allows me to take on more difficult topics that risk demonetization. Join up on the Discord. We've got a very active community there now. The link is in the description. Also, don't forget to hit the playlist to see dozens of hours of Unsolved Mysteries content. Huge thanks to all my YouTube members and patrons. Shout out to my patrons Noah Schubert, Kazak Cutie, Kurt the Squirt, Monoxide Wendigo, Jeffer Metcalf, Z-Volts, Director Delta, and Unknown Delusions. Also, big shout out to YouTube members Jordan All and Syntax Nexus. Also to every viewer and listener, I love you a ton, and you make this all possible. I'm not exaggerating when I say that without you this channel wouldn't exist. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Peace out, everyone.